Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Universe. I am Aaron St Denis. Follow me everywhere at FF Mad Scientist. I am apparently the bottom bitch today, joined above by Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05 and Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel. We are here for some Week 4 game previews, NFC home game previews, because the Thursday nighter is Cowboys at Giants. Let's check in on the comments here. What's up, L. Smith? And then we have someone commenting back from our account on multiple accounts.
Just does what?
Yes, we are about to roll.
Rolling like Limp Biscuit.
We are slightly delayed here, getting off to like I said, a late start, as someone, not going to name any names, may have been sucked into the Vince McMahon documentary and forgot what time we were starting. By someone, I mean me. It does happen. So we will start with this one here. It is the Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. Where do we want to start? For those of you who have requested graphics, we have the starting 7 on the board. In most cases, I went quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 tight end, and a 3 receiver and a tight end. So kind of your typical starting lineup for a fantasy unit. Some of them do not have 3 receivers or a running back and have 9 tight ends. So we had to be creative. But for this one, this is what it is. So where do you guys want to start with this one?
We have to.
How scary high we all have Daniel Jones this week? Is that a good place to start?
Let's start with Daniel Jones. I mean, this Dallas Cowboys defense has been awful through the first 3 weeks. I don't know what Mike Zimmer thought he was or what Dallas thought Mike Zimmer was, but he's not the Mike Zimmer of old. I don't know if it's the talent that they have there or lack of talent that they have there in Dallas beyond Micah Parsons and maybe 1 or 2 other pieces. But they're just getting gashed weekly. It's also the offense can't really sustain drives and run out the clock because their running game is non-existent. So that's another issue for Dallas. So Daniel Jones is my QB 14 on the week. I do have Jordan Love ahead of him, hedging that Love plays this week. If Love does not play, Daniel Jones moves up automatically. It's possible when it's all said and done. Jones is my QB 12 this week. I think the Giants are going to score a lot of points in this one.
Yeah, it's gross. The Cowboys are giving up the 4th most fantasy points to quarterbacks because they cannot stop anybody do anything defensively. They can't generate pressures. It's abysmal. And the nice thing about Daniel Jones is he rushes, so he's always going to have a higher floor. Yeah. Now he needs a passing attack, and that's where Malik Neighbors comes in, who we'll get to in a little bit. But Malik Neighbors gives Daniel Jones a chance to be a top 12 quarterback because how good a wide receiver is. So yeah, like I'm fine with that. I have him at QB 13. And that feels like a good spot. I don't want to get too bullish with him because Cowboys still have talent, but yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough in Dallas right now.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure where I have him. I'm working on it right now. I looked and my rankings say I have him as QB 27, but it had occurred to me that I finished my rankings on a spreadsheet, but I have not uploaded them to Fantasy Pros yet, so they are a work in progress. For me, I think I'm going to end up with him being a high-end QB2, so I'm somewhere in the 13 to 15 range, but like I said, I'm in the process here of updating them, so it remains a mystery. We've got some ugly looking, well, okay, I guess before we go into the running backs, Dak, you have Dak higher than DJ still?
Yes. Yeah. A few spots ago. I think I have Dak at QB 10.
I do too. I have him at 10 and 14 is what I have them, which is closer than I expected.
Yeah, it's that range.
Yeah. I have him at 8, but I'm noticing I need to move him down because Baker has a juicy matchup. So he's 9 right now for me.
All right. We have an interesting set of running backs on both sides. Rico Dowdle, Zeke Elliott versus Devin Singletary, Tyrone Tracy. It's got to be Singletary here as easily the only startable one, I would say. Yes. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Those are your standard, the numbers you see if you're watching, are your standard projections for just basic sleeper default league, half PPR, nothing fancy. So if you see a 21.92, that's not their points per game. That is what sleeper has them projected. I didn't want to mix in our rankings here because try to take out our personal bias here, which we have plenty of. So that's what that is. You are correct. Back to what I was saying. It's a Devin Singletary or bust here, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you could flex Rico. He's a top 30 running back for me. But yeah, he needs to take a bigger role of that offense because he's only at like 42% of the total opportunities. Still splitting work. It's slowly creeping along where he's getting more and more work as the season goes on because he's the most explosive back and really the only good back there. So I expect him to go. But yeah, like you're firing up Singletary. He's been really, really good. If you look at his metrics and everything, Singletary's been awesome. I know they let go of Saquon. Everybody says a mistake. He's replaced Saquon just fine. Like, that's not hurting them at all, the loss of Saquon. Like, Singletary's doing the job that they came in to do. It sounds gross because Saquon's going bananas in Philadelphia.
Yeah. And it's Singletary by a lot. He's my RB 18 early on. Zeke is my next close. No, sorry, it's Rico. Rico, a few spots over Zeke. Rico 30, Zeke 34. So it's really ugly in Dallas. I mean, these projections make sense. Singletary, no one else for me.
It's a real shame that Tyrone Tracy landed here because I don't think he's going to be able to take over Devin Singletary like many had hoped. But I think if he had been drafted by the Cowboys, he's easily the RB1 with this. Like, I think he beats out Dowdle and Zeke handily, and it's not even close, but that's just me.
Yeah. We've been hearing all week. I mean, how did Dallas pass on Braylon Allen? I thought that was a lock. I think many people did. They just decided not to draft a running back and instead sign Ezekiel Elliott after the draft. Ridiculous.
Nope, sorry, I didn't do that, but I guess we'd have that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Braylon, like I'll say with Braylon, like his last 2 years were not good in Wisconsin. Like you go back and watch him, he just wasn't that good of a running back. And we're kind of revisioning his history, like how good he was. Like you look at his freshman year, then sophomore, junior year, he was dramatically worse across the board. So like my point was he should have just played better and he would have gotten the job, but he didn't play good enough and just kind of fell out. But now he's in a really good situation and scheme with that offense, and it fits his talents. It makes sense why he's doing so well.
Yeah, but he was 20 and a 4th round pick, right? So I mean,
I think
he also wasn't even a running back going into college. Like they made him into a running back in college. So it's kind of
this trade, I think you got the better quarterback. I think I prefer Wilson over Ayuk. I probably prefer ETN over Montgomery, but it's close. I don't know. This comes down to personal preference. I think you sold low on players, but I like Lamar best, but I think you probably sold low. In the end, I think you probably didn't go up or down. It's kind of an even across the board. You just swapped out different players, slightly better quarterback, slightly worse receiver. I guess I think you're probably the same range, just different names.
And Lamar's got Buffalo this week, so watch out.
Yeah, I mean, you're 0-3. Sometimes you gotta shake it up. And I used to buy low. Like I like buying in Ayuk buy low. It's just Garrett Wilson has significant upside. The one thing you have to worry about with that deal that could go wrong. Otherwise,
Wilson's gonna suck again this week. Who do they got? I forget. Denver, and he's getting Surtain. I forgot. I've written about it all week, and you think I'd remember? J.K. Dobbins for Cup.
That's a win. I'll say it right now.
W.
Absolute win. That's a big dub.
Do we
I have
know
Dobbins on the Fancy Pros article coming out. I have Dobbins as a sell high. Like I'm very much in this rate of thought.
I agree if we know Cup is going to come back, but I've done this in the past with Michael Thomas with he'll be back for week 6 or week 8, and he didn't play for 2 years. So I'm not saying that's the situation. Yeah, I haven't tried to acquire McCaffrey because I
can't.
This is the point where I'm leaning more towards like week 10 at best. Like I think
sell his ass.
If they announce tomorrow he's done for the season, I wouldn't be surprised. But
like they might just hold him out to the playoffs. Like they theoretically they could do that. They are struggling offensively though. Like they're missing those pieces like Kittle, Debo. Like they're going to need McCaffrey back at some point. So
all right, back on track. Mm-hmm. Receivers in this one. Who would have thought this was close? But Malik Neighbors and CD Lamb. I assume I still have Lamb. I do have Lamb as the 1. I have Neighbors at 6 right now. He looks awesome. And then it's a bunch of flyers here. I could start Wandell. I could start Tolbert. I have no interest in Cooks or Hyatt. What do you guys think here? Do you guys still have Lamb over Neighbors?
No.
I struggle with Lamb a little bit because he's not doing what we wanted him to do. As far as usage, Neighbors has the best usage in the NFL, and it's not even close. He's on an island by himself. The issue is Daniel Jones. One guy is Dak, one guy is Daniel Jones. I expect it to even out a little bit. I think the 2 guys, it's like Lamb, it's Jefferson, and then you could make a case for anybody, like Malik Neighbors over anybody. That's how good he's playing right now. So Malik Neighbors is 4. I have Rashi.
I did this before once where I accumulated a bunch of injured studs and I had a loaded team. I missed the playoffs on a tiebreaker by points, and I was the highest scoring team in the playoffs all 3 weeks, and I would have ran away with the championship, but I missed the playoffs. So you got to make sure if you do this, make the playoffs. Otherwise, it doesn't do any good. So
Who's on your bench?
Yeah. So listen, back to CD Lamb, like half PPR. CD Lamb's finishes the first 3 weeks: wide receiver 24, wide receiver 15, wide receiver 52. He gets the Giants. If the Giants have anything, they have some decent safety play, and they have one good corner. I think they can limit CD Lamb, so he's like my wide receiver 8 or 9. I got Malik at 4 this week. It's going to be very, very good for him.
All right, we got to move on to the tight ends here because we're going to be 45 minutes on this game at this. So Ferguson, I think at this point is basically a locked-in top 5 based on the fact that tight end sucks.
Yes.
And Theo Johnson is it's a dynasty stash for me, but nothing else. Would we agree there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ferguson's the log. Like, he's one of the few tight ends. I think he has the highest expected fantasy points of any tight end in the NFL right now. Like, that's how bad tight end is.
I'm trying to move him lower than my tight end 2 on the week. I'm struggling. He's my tight end 2 right now.
You don't want to know who my tight end 2 is on the week. I can't even say.
Goddard, baby, let's roll.
Do not. No.
Your favorite player. Yes.
No, you can't. Push him down.
Yeah, it's not. He's not. I think he's tight end 4, but it's that ugly where I'm like, ugh.